Hey, what's going on, guys? Okay, so in the last video, we were working on the design of the sign in and sign up form. Now, before we even get to doing validations and registering users, we need to create the database tables for our blog posts and our users tables. So we're going to do that using Laravel Migrations. So this video is probably not going to take too long, so let's not waste any more time and let's get to it. So to create Laravel migrations, there's a command for it. You can do that using the PHP Artisan commands in the terminal. So I'm going to open that up. Um, let's see, where am I now? Clear this up. Okay, so now the first thing is if you look within the current migrations that we have within our application, it's within the database table. I mean, sort of folder, and then migrations. So currently we have the users um, what you call it, migration already created. So the first thing we can do is, if you look within our registration form, what we have here is the first name and the last name, email, password, and confirm password. So we need to modify our migration, the user's migration, so that we can be able to register the username and last name. So in the file itself, you should have it automatically there. We're just going to change some few things. So here, I'll change this, copy that, and paste it again. And then all I'll do is say first name, and then in the second one, I'll say last name. I believe that's all we need. We don't need anything else. Let me just verify quickly. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the users tables. We just need the first name and last name. We didn't need to do that, but since we already created our registration form in this particular structure, we might as well change it. And then everything else you can leave as it is. So now that we have the users table, we need to create the post table. So the easiest thing that we can do is PHP Artisan make model, and then we're going to say post. Now, um, this post model is going to represent our what you call it, our post table. So the easiest thing to do now in order to create this model plus the migration file is to flag this with the -m. So by default, what this is going to do is going to create a model. For example, we already have the users model within the models folder, which is that one there. And then this model is represented by the users migrations. The user migrations for this model is already there, so we don't need to do that. We don't need to create a model for that. So, but the easiest thing that we can do is create this migration file by flagging it like we just did now. So, hold on, sorry. Um, it's PHP Artisan make model and then post. It's post, not posts, nah? And then -m. All right, and then by doing this, it's going to create a migration file for us plus a post model. Okay, as you can see, it's currently creating the migrations file, and then we should have it, which is over here. So now, in case you don't know how to create, in case you don't want to do it that way and you want to separately create a migration file without flagging it using the model, um, I'll show you now once my terminal opens up. Okay, so the other way to create a migration file is PHP Artisan and then make migration, and then how you create it is by saying create, right, and then underscore posts, right, and then you say table, and that's it. So that's how you create a migration file, which is going to be automatically generated within this migrations folder over here. So, but we don't need to do that. We did it by flagging it when we created the post model. All right, so we can close this. Okay, so now that we have our folder, I mean our migration file created, the fields that we are going to need now are, we're going to need we're going to say table, and then string, and then this is going to be the title, right? By the way, remember each post is going to belong to a user, so we also need to add a user ID field in here. So let's say table, and then we're going to say integer, or sorry, not integer, big integer. I type this right. It's big, uh, big integer, and then this is going to be user ID. Now we also need to make this um, unsigned. Okay, so now the reason we're making it big integer is because if we come back to the users table, right, this ID is generally a big integer ID. So in order for, so if usually you would find big increments, I mean sorry, increments or something like that, but this one over here is by default uh, this big integer, what you call it, function. So just make sure that you do that, because there's another one, I believe, I think it's something like integer, just like that. But make sure you use the big integer one, unless if you're using the old method of um, assigning IDs on Laravel. Right, so enough of that. So after title, um, we're gonna need the slug um, after here. Actually, let me just, I think let me just copy this because we're gonna use it a couple of times. Um, so this is gonna be slug, right? And then this one is gonna be body. But in fact, for the body, we're gonna change the string to text. Okay, and then here we're gonna save the image path. All right, and then now we're gonna need to set the foreign key. References users um, on, oh my apologies, it's supposed to be references ID on users, right? And then on delete cascade and save that. We need to add that user ID field there, and we save that. Just hold on, I want to check my notes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So it's the user ID, which is a foreign key, title, slug, body, and then the image path. So this image path is going to be the image path of the featured image for the blog post. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it. All the other tables you can just leave them as they are. You don't need to do anything there. These are the only two tables that you're basically gonna need. Now, I don't believe we created the database table for this, so let me just see within the .env file. Yeah, we haven't created the table yet, so I'm just gonna quickly log into my SQL. Okay, and then in here, create database. I'm just gonna name it FLB. By the way, guys, I'm using my SQL. In the link, I'll leave a link in the description below as to how you can install Apache MySQL and PHP using Xampp. The method is pretty much the same. I also show how to create a database within with it by using PHP my admin. So if you don't have, if you haven't used MySQL before, just check that video out. I have MySQL Workbench installed, so I'm using the terminal from that. So just that's just for those of you who don't know. All right, so that's create database FLB, enter. All right, so now I'm gonna say grant. Hopefully this works. Usually it doesn't. Usually, sometimes it gives me an issue and all of that. So I'm gonna say grant all privileges on FLB 2, and I'm gonna say at localhost, right? Identified by password is JSON 3. That's pretty much it. Hopefully this works. All right. Oh yeah, sorry. But I did choose the database. I think I'm missing a star here. Okay, my apologies. I forgot to say dot star there so that um, it knows that it's gonna grant all privileges to that particular database. So if this worked, we should be able to create migrations. So now here within the .env file, we're gonna change that database name from that to FLB, and then the user is JSON, and then the password, like you just saw, is JSON123. Okay, so I'm gonna save this, but because we did that, I have to now start the application again. So that's not it. It's this one here. So I have to cancel that and then start it again. Okay, let me just refresh. Okay, so now just gonna delete the third one. Then I'm gonna come to the first terminal. All right, PHP Artisan migrate. So by running this command, it's going to run all those migration files that we create that are in the migration folder. If we did everything correctly, it should create the two tables that we need, the users one. Actually, it should be able to create all the tables. So let's press enter and see. Okay, so looks like everything worked as it should. We have the migrations, the table should be created. So let's say show tables. Uh, Let me do this. Use FLB and then show tables. Okay, so those are all our tables there. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Or if you want to, you can check the structure of the table. Describe users. All right, so those are our tables there. As you can see, first name, last name, email, verified ad, and password. So I think that's pretty much it for the video. That's how you create database tables using what you call it, using migrations. And so in the next video, we should be focusing on registering users and logging users into our application. All right, guys. So that's it for the video, guys. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you guys within the next video. All right. Cheers for now.